Morning, police arrested the driver who crashed into an oil truck over the weekend in Hunts Point, killing 2 passengers and leaving 1 in critical condition.
News 12's Valerie Ryan has been following this, and she joins us from where it happened. And you have more on these new details this morning.
Yes, Christy, Aisha, I do. This is truly a devastating story, and I'm joining you from outside a growing memorial here where the crash happened. We just got new information from police. They say the engine of that car involved in this crash was actually stolen. So now that driver, the 23-year-old Enrique Lopez, is being charged with criminal possession of stolen property, along with 6 other serious charges, including manslaughter.
You see what I'm saying? It gets worse, right? It gets worse. It's bad enough that this guy got into an accident that ended up taking the lives of 2 people. Rest in peace to those 2 people. But now the driver is being charged with not only manslaughter for the deaths of those 2 people, but he's now being charged with criminal possession of illegal property because the Swapped 300 Challenger, or 300 that he had a stolen Hellcat engine under the hood of it. A lot of you right now are listening to my video with a stolen Hellcat engine under the hood of your car. And I'm telling you, if you get into a car accident or anything like that, and the police start sticking their head around, looking under the hood of that car, and they find out that that Hellcat engine VIN number does not match the VIN number of the car, that's you go into jail. Criminal possession of illegal property. It's a wrap. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video, man. So as you can tell, I'm in my house. That makes this a house vlog. You already know what's going down when I come around. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. So boom. You've already seen this story. I told you about this, last week or the week before last, actually. We talked about this. It was a Hellcat 300, swapped Hellcat 300, swapped Hellcat engine in a 300 Chrysler, and it was the U-Haul Chrysler, right? Unfortunately, crashed, ended up taking the lives of 2 of the passengers in the car. Another person was listed as critical. Believe it or not, the driver was the only one that really sustained minor injuries. Unfortunately, the driver is being charged with manslaughter because he was driving the car, lost control of it. I'm assuming he was driving it recklessly. Manslaughter, but upon the accident taking place, the police started sticking their nose around the car, started looking at the engine, because police are just as smart as you and I. Let's just be real here. They're not stupid. They know that Chrysler never came out with a Hellcat 300. They know that Chrysler never came out with, a red-eye Hellcat 300 engine, a Demon 300 engine. They know that. So in their head, a lot of these police departments are dealing with all sorts of chop shops, right? Illegal chop shops where Hellcats, Chargers, Challengers, Scat Packs are being stolen. Durango Hellcats, T-Rex, Trackhawks are being stolen, and then they get chopped up. The engine gets snatched out, the rims, the wheels get snatched off, all the SRT parts get snatched off, and then they get sold. I can't tell you how many times I get tagged in a chop shop's post talking about they're selling Hellcat OEM wheels, Hellcat OEM steering wheel, Hellcat OEM rearview mirror, all kinds of dumb shit. And I'm like, bro, come on, let's be real here. Nobody is buying a Hellcat car, engine, Charger, Challenger, whatever the case may be, and then selling their damn steering wheel so that you can sell it, or selling it to you so that you can sell it to somebody else. All that shit is illegal. Let's just keep it 100 here. Now, I know a lot of you guys, and I'm not going to, assume that you guys are stealing engines and putting them in your 300s, but let's be real here. Very few people are going out and spending $12,000, $20,000 for these Hellcat engines. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it 100. So some people, unfortunately, or maybe it's unbeknownst to them, like they don't know whether or not the Hellcat engine is stolen, because they, as the owner of the 300, they pay for the engine, but they don't know, the genesis of the engine itself, where the engine came from, what car it was in, who owned it prior to. They don't know. So they end up swapping it in their 300 or their Charger SRT or their Scat Pack or their, Ram or whatever the case may be. Unbeknownst to them, they've got a stolen engine in their car. That's what happened in this scenario here, unfortunately. this U-Haul Chrysler 300 swapped Hellcat engine, surprisingly, and this was surprising to me because I've never seen this happen, gets into the car accident, ends up killing 2 people, right? Rest in peace to both of those individuals. The driver actually is the only one that walks away with little to no injuries. You know, everyone else was either critical or deceased. And they're charging the driver with not only manslaughter of the 2 people that lost their lives, but now after peeking around the car, because they know that Chrysler never made a Hellcat engine, they're looking at the engine and it turns out the engine was stolen. A lot of people don't realize this, but those Hemi Hellcat Scat Pack engines have the VIN number attached to it. The thing is that the VIN number is on the underside of the engine. And not only that, but you have to have a special tool to read the VIN number, to my understanding. Like, you can't just look at it and say, oh, that's, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the VIN number. To my understanding, you have to have a special tool that only Chrysler or Mopar has to read the VIN number. Well, so many of these cars are getting stolen. So many of these cars are ending up completely chopped, right? Stripped from head to toe, that these police officers and police departments are catching on to this shit. They know what you're doing. Let's be real here. And I'm not saying this for everybody, guys, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to rub anybody the wrong way. But if you could afford a Hellcat, you would afford a Hellcat, if that makes sense. If you could afford a Hellcat Charger, you would have a Hellcat Charger. If you could afford a Hellcat Challenger, you could afford a Hellcat. You would have a Hellcat Challenger. A lot of people cannot. So what they do is they go out, they get these Chrysler 300s, right? Obviously used because Chrysler's not making any new 300s anymore. They go out, they get the shell, right? A V6 Chrysler 300 or 5.7, snatch that engine out, right? And go out and buy an illegal Hellcat, illegally or a stolen Hellcat engine. Let's just call it what it is. And then they drop it in their 300 Chrysler and then it's a wrap, And I made a video on this recently, right? So when it's done the right way, it's smart. When it's done the legal way, it's smart. And I say that to say, when you own the Chrysler 300 body, right? And you procure the Hellcat engine by legal means, and you confirm that it is a legally, purchased Hellcat engine, not something that's stolen, and you drop that Hellcat engine in that 300, it's smart because just from a tax perspective and an insurance perspective, you're paying $50, $60, $70 a month because your insurance company thinks that it's just a Chrysler 300, a V6. Even if it's a 5.7, like, you're still paying nickels and dimes compared to, like, myself paying for a Hellcat engine or a Hellcat Charger. It's a Chrysler 300 V6 or 5.7 with a Hellcat engine on the inside. Your insurance company doesn't know that. Your insurance company doesn't have any precedent for a Hellcat 300. So they're only going to charge you for V6 or 5.7 300. So you're paying 50, 60, 70, $100 maximum in insurance. And then when it comes to taxes at the end of the year, instead of paying what I'm paying for my 2023 Hellcat Charger, you're paying taxes based on a 2015, 2016 Chrysler 300 V6, which is once again nickels and dimes. But little do they know, you've got a 6.2 liter supercharged $30,000 engine under the hood of your car. So when it's done the right way, it's smart. When it's done the wrong way, illegally, however, it's not so smart, because what this video tells me is that you get into a car accident in one of your 300s, right? And you got an illegally purchased Hellcat engine under the hood of your car, stolen Hellcat engine. Let's just call it what it is. You got a stolen Hellcat engine under the hood of your car. You get into a car accident. A cop rolls up to the scene and he's knowledgeable of cars to some degree. He doesn't just look at it and say, oh, it's a Chrysler 300 in a car accident, it hit another car, insurance claim, whatever the case may be, let's go on about our day. But he starts looking at the car, poking around, sniffing around, comes to the conclusion that, hold on, listen. Chrysler never came out with the Hellcat 300, which means you purchased this engine from somewhere else. Let me run the VIN number on this engine just to make sure it matches the body. If it matches the body, we're good to go. You and I both know Hellcats don't match Chrysler 300 bodies. And the reality of the situation is people aren't going to have like a receipt. But most people are not going to have like a receipt handy for their Hellcat 300. Or maybe, let me take that back. How do I want to go? How do I want to explain this? What happens is like, for instance, hypothetically speaking, my car gets stolen. My car has a VIN number attached to it. My VIN number on my body of the Charger matches the VIN number of the Hellcat engine that's under my car. My car gets stolen. I find my car 3 months later, but the engine is gone. That engine ends up in somebody's 300, right? I've already reported my Charger stolen. So that VIN number is now listed as stolen. That engine ends up in your Chrysler 300 swapped. You get into an accident on 485. You call the police like a dumbass. They come up, investigate the scene. You're trying to file an insurance claim, this, that, and the other. They start poking around under the hood of your car, come to the realization that, oh, listen, this is a 300 Hellcat. There is no such thing as a 300 Hellcat. Chrysler never made a 300 Hellcat. You know what I mean? So they start asking questions. They look up the VIN number. It turns out that VIN number, for one, it doesn't match the body of the Chrysler. Go figure. Two, that VIN number comes back to my stolen Hellcat Charger that I reported stolen 3 months ago. You are going to jail for criminal possession of illegal property. In other words, you are going to jail because you have my stolen engine under the hood of your car. If you have a Swap 300 Charger, Challenger, whatever, and you got a Hellcat engine under the hood of it, and you don't know the genesis of that engine, you better hope you don't get into a car accident. Otherwise, that's your ass. Especially if the person that engine was stolen from reported it stolen. Police departments are not stupid. All right, now let me come full circle. All right, and let me clear up some things. I am not saying that every Hellcat Swap 300, Challenger, Charger, Ram, whatever people put Hellcats into is stolen. I'm not saying that. All right, I am not saying that. I'm simply saying for you out there that are doing that have a Hellcat engine under the hood of your car, and you don't know where that engine came from, there is a strong possibility that engine is stolen. And if it is, and you get into a car accident, or for whatever reason, the police are sneaking around and sniffing around your car and start asking questions and want to run the VIN number of that Hellcat engine that's under your 300, because they know that Chrysler never made a Hellcat 300, and they start asking questions about it, and it turns out that thing is stolen and it's registered to somebody else's VIN number on their Charger or Challenger. I told you so. Like, that's how it happens. This is the first time that I've actually seen this happening. Like, it's bad enough that they got this kid for manslaughter. It's bad enough that this kid has gone through what he's gone through. And I say kid because he's like 23 years old. It's bad enough that he's going through what he's gone through. But now he's got criminal charges on top of all that, which lets me know that cops are, they're getting hip to this stuff. So if you get into a car accident and your Swap 300, your Swap Charger, your Swap Challenger, and you cannot, legally kind of identify exactly where that engine came from, because you can go on eBay right now and buy a Hellcat engine. You can go to dodgegarage.com and buy a Hellcat engine, right? And I'm not sure that the VIN numbers, I highly doubt that the VIN numbers would match. Even if you went to dodgegarage.com or Dodge and bought a Hellcat engine through them, a crate engine, that's what they call them, 392 crate, Hellcat crate, red eye crate, demon crate. I don't think the VIN number would match your car. They would probably be something specific to the VIN number of a crate engine or whatever. But still, you would have some sort of, receipt or some sort of transaction history to say, oh yeah, this engine was purchased here, right? And it wouldn't show up as stolen when they ran the VIN number or whatever serial numbers attached to these engines. But in this case, with this being a stolen Hellcat engine in a 300, and he got into a car accident, and the police started sticking around and asking questions, and it came up as stolen, now he's got charges on top of his head for that as well. And that could be you. If you're rolling around with the engine under the hood of your car and you and I both know you don't know where it came from, let's keep it 100 here, right? When your homeboy texts you and says, hey, listen, I got a Hellcat engine with your name on it, don't ask any questions. Like, let's be real here, keep it 100. You know what time it is. You better not get into a car accident. You better not get a speeding ticket. You better not have any interaction with the police. Because if they start asking questions and poking around and all of a sudden they want to run the VIN number on that Hellcat engine, and that Hellcat engine comes up stolen because it was in my Charger, that's your ass. You going to jail, man. But for all the other ones, for the other 90% of Swap 300 Hellcat owners out there that did it the legal way, they went to dodgegarage.com, they went to eBay, they went to a body shop or auto shop and bought it from them. For the other 90% of legal, Hellcat owners or 300 Hellcat owners that did it the right way, first off, my hat goes off to you. Thank you for doing things the legal way. You're good, right? For you other 10%, stay away from the police. No interactions whatsoever, man. This video right here has shown me that, they're looking at this type of stuff. So y'all better be careful, man. As always, Vinny Boy Knockout 360, real quick video. I'm just trying to keep y'all out of harm's way. You know what I mean? I know what goes on. I see a lot of stuff. I never say anything. It's not my place to. I stay in my lane. This is my lane right here, doing the videos. I stay in my lane when it comes to that. I see a lot of stuff. I hear a lot of stuff. I don't say anything about it. But I am trying to keep y'all, off the radar. So if this is what you're doing and this is how you riding, who am I to say that that's wrong or right? But, the police are watching. Everyone's watching. So see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.